Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we're discussing a lovely and versatile Omega Speedmaster chronograph, 40 millimeters in stainless steel. This is an automatic Speedmaster. For those of you who are suffering from Moonwatch burnout and Moonwatch limited edition burnout, this is the antidote. So 40 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel, 15.3 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip. It's 45.8 millimeters, but if you had the solid end links to the bracelet, it's 50.3 millimeters across the wrist with a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see the watch wears well. It's fairly compact across the wrist, and it wears even more so if it's on a strap. But on the bracelet, as it is here, I'd recommend it for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference because these end links are quite substantial. It's not particularly thin, but on the other hand, it will fit underneath a jacket cuff, and for a lot of folks, that is enough. Taking a quick look at the bracelet, it's sort of a hybrid of a dress and a sports bracelet. It's got a conforming end link to mate it cleanly to the case. And then we have these sort of irregularly profiled shoulder links. The centers feature narrow polished intermediates, and between the shape of these links and the polished intermediates, it does have slightly ornate airs about it, but it's still strong and robust and massive like a sports watch bracelet, so you get the best of both worlds. Taking a quick look, this is an older Omega watch, so it features removable links fixed by pins and sleeves, so if you want to size this, you'll need a block and punch. We also have two pairs of divots drilled through the clasp, so you can move the anchoring point of the bracelet in or out to fine-tune the fit. The clasp is very similar to what you'll find on a Omega Seamaster Diver 300 meter from the period, so single swing arm, twin trigger release, very thick gauge steel. It just doesn't have the dive extension of the Seamaster. Rolling around to the case, lyre style lugs, we know them well. We have an outward bevel, which is polished, and an inward bevel, which is satinated. We have a satin finished mid case. This movement is based on a Valjoux 7753, which has that balanced tri-register design. The only price you pay for that balance is that you lose the quick set, so we have a little pusher adjuster right here that's actually used to adjust the date. Roll around, you can see this is almost a mini version of a Moonwatch case with the lyre style lugs and then the shear guards for the pump pushers and the crown. We have a rather elaborate bezel structure. You can see underneath it's polished. It has a sort of vertical lip outboard, and then we have an anodized aluminum and dramatically sloped tachymeter bezel, which can be used for gauging the speed of an object. Generally, with a metric calibrated tachymeter, it's set up to gauge the speed of something moving fast over a standard kilometer. Now, the dial features applique indices, a much higher level of finish and detailing that you'll find on the traditional 39 millimeter Speedmaster reduced. This is more upscale than that. So we have these faceted applique indices, applique Omega logo. We have a little sort of carved sloping facet on each side of the date window, so it's not a sheer cut through the dial, so it progressively slopes down to a black-white printed date disc. We have sub-registers with polished chapterings. We have a lovely ardoise or gray metallic sunburst on the dial radiating out from the center. The hands are polished. The watch is well loomed, and we'll see that right now. Including the chronograph seconds hand, there's quite a bit of loom on the dial. And you can see this is watch, it is pre-coaxial, meaning it is very, very, very tough. We have a stop seconds function. When I pull the crown, I activate hacking seconds. And then you can see each of the sub-registers is a black on gray tone on tone with a polished chaptering outboard and a concentric pattern raised at the center. Underneath the case back, which has a picture of a seahorse, we have the Omega Caliber 3304, which, as I mentioned, is based on the Valjoux 7753, but in chronometer grade. So it's COSC certified and adjusted in 5 positions. It's a unidirectional automatic winder with a 48-hour power reserve. It pivots on 27 joules in Omega spec. Remember, a standard 7750 is 25 joules. This has been upgraded. It has the stop seconds function, and it uses a cam for chronograph function cycling that has been adjusted very precisely so it sounds and feels as sharp as a column wheel. Also important, the 7750 architecture uses an oscillating pinion lateral clutch, which is not a conventional lateral clutch. When you push and hold to start an oscillating pinion chronograph, in general, you get no forward jump or stagger of the chronograph seconds hand. The oscillating pinion, although it is a meshed tooth, it has very little play in it, and thus you're able to start as smoothly as a vertical clutch, and that's common to all 7750 architectures. It's just not often acknowledged. And 48 hours of power reserve is the upper limit for a standard 7750. A lot of them have 42, 44, 46, so 48 is nice to have in this watch. A lot of folks ask me, Tim, why is there a seahorse on the back of all the Speedmasters? Well, back in 1957, when it first debuted, it was part of a broad family of water-resistant watches, all of which were called Seamasters. So the Speedmaster was originally part of the Seamaster collection, hence the horse on the back to remind you that it was a water-resistant watch back in an era when many watches were still being made without any water resistance. So to this day, it maintains that original family mark on the back. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And I know someone's going to ask, so this watch beats away at 4 hertz or 8 beats per second.